Hey Hollywood Hills fans, and welcome to another show. Now we are rapidly closing in on the end of November, and yet there is still racing to come. So for the last couple of weeks we've been reviewing the Verena round. That was the penultimate round of the GXCCs, and we're 2 shows out of 3 into that post-production. But remember, 2 weeks ago was also the final round of the Farm Jams. They took the show on the road, and we saw 4 brand new venues. You'll have no doubt seen the shows that we put out, but if you haven't, go and check them out on Hollywood Hills, our YouTube channel, and you'll see how the style of Farm Jam has changed into a pure rock and roll hair scramble, calmed the pace down a little bit, given more variety to the riding as well, and we have seen incredible buy-in for all of the riders, and people are loving it, loving it, loving it. 4 brand new venues, and we were lucky enough to put a double points way of rounding out the championship. There was supposed to be 6 rounds, remember, but we lost that little gap in the middle of the year. 5-round championship. The last one was all about double points, and we went back to the classic race venue of DIRTRAX. Remember, this is where it all began 12 years ago. This is a long-running, one of, if not the longest-running off-road motorbike championship in South Africa at the moment, and still going from strength to strength. Huge numbers, great entries for the final round, and without further ado, this is the final of Farm Jam in 2021.
All this Farm Jam racing action, as always, brought to you by Vans Racing and Subaru Nelspruit. The return for Farm Jam to the original iconic venue that started it all 12 years ago. For the 5th and final round in 2021, we went back to the farm and DIRTRAX just out the back door of Middelburg. The morning session was going to be all about the juniors that would go out on a short, just under 10-kilometer loop, and the senior 85s and ladies would go out onto the main loop to make sure things were opening up. The big story of the day was near on record entries, a big surprise at this late stage of the game. Everyone was locked and loaded, and everyone knew that it was double points, meaning everything was on the line for the final time of asking in 2021. After the briefing, everyone knew exactly what they had to do. The whole story was everything had been slowed down. Historically, DIRTRAX was a fast venue. This time around, we'd been able to use every single piece of the farm to make sure we got the very best out of what DIRTRAX had to offer. The whole shot queue was a new scenario as well. We used the old field at the bottom end of the farm, but we fired everyone into a very tight and technical layout. It was the 85 seniors that sent it out first, with Caden Robert pulling the massive whole shot for the final time in 2021. But all eyes were on Big Miguel Cavina. He has been the kid of the championship, but everyone was chasing down Robert on loop number 1 as he pulled a massive gap on the field and checked out. For the ladies' gate, it's the girl who would be queen, Catherine Mostert. She was a standout points leader, but a 10-strong ladies' gate meant she wasn't going to have it all her own way. She made mincemeat of the field on the whole shot, and she was also gone out onto the main loop. For the juniors, it was the 85 juniors that would set things off first on the tight and technical layout of the track. Way over 30 riders, the biggest ever 85 junior entry we have seen, and all eyes were on Bruno Niebuhr. He was third out the gate, but as soon as we got out into clear air, he was gone with Stian van der Heever on his wheel. 65s also saw over 20 riders coming off the queue, with points leader Jaden Els going out the front. He is the kid to beat. He pulled the whole shot, and incredibly enough, stalled out and still managed to get going just to see clear air and keep his elbows wide to stop any passing happening. The 50cc's saw a small entry this time around, but at the top end of the field, it has become a 2-horse race. The whole shot machine that is Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen almost got it, but this time around, Wilco de Ploy was his equal. It was elbows up, out onto the course once again. The course that had been laid out for the final time of asking in 2021 was absolutely spot on. A perfect mixture of almost every single type of terrain you can get. There was forest trails, there was a little bit of wide open grass tracks, there were river crossings, there were rocks. It was absolutely everything that you would hope and expect to go riding in perfect conditions. The kids absolutely loved the layout of the track. The technical nature was a challenge to some riders, but to the rest, they were smiling all the way to the bank. And remember, even the junior classes were racing for double points, so there was some tension out there as championships had yet to be decided. Not any one of the junior, Pro 85s or ladies championships had been decided yet, so it was all coming down to DIRTRAX to see who would stand on the top of the box and walk away with the cheese. Climbing the ladder then, let's go out onto the track and pick up on the 50cc's. Like we said, it was a small entry for the final round, but the kids that made it into the top 5 would be rewarded handsomely as well with the double points up for offer. Yano Lombard was inside of a number 5 with Low Lombard just a little bit further up the road in a 4 and 5. So the Lombards have been coming on strong at the latter half of the season and the championship. The marshals and everyone were out there at the technical points to make sure the kids kept on rolling and kept on trucking. It was cool to see the big fights happening and the kids that were starting to climb the ladder up the road into the top 3s. Declan Richards has been coming on incredibly strong and now looks like he's getting picked up by the Vans Racing squad for the 2022 season. Richards is one of the stars of the future and he has not missed a podium for a long time now. Third place would have been enough to cement his third place in the championship. For the machine, Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen had some challenges on the final event, but a second place was still a good result for him, and it kept the championship alive. But there was one kid up the road, and the kid who has been coming on strong in the second half of the season. Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen, though, held his head high, and he is going to be able to sign off on his Farm Jam 50cc racing career as he moves on up to 65s for 2022. Wilco de Plooi is going to be staying on the 50cc's going forward into next season, and he has been tough to beat in the second half of the 2021 tour. At the final round of Farm Jam, he nailed it once again, and the checkers saw him on top. Confirmation of Wilco getting the win ahead of the machine, Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen. Declan Richards, solid as ever in third place ahead of the Lombards, with Derek Milan, a former championship rival, having a tough end to the season down in a number 6. On the 65cc gate, very fast and solid rides the whole way through the season for Rivan de Beer. You can see he is one of the smaller kids out there just making the jump up from the 50cc's last year, and a number 5 spot shows that he has got a long future ahead of him. Matty Mayer, getting a bit wild with our cameras out there, had to make some big passes to get through on the traffic to get forward into his charge to a number 4 finish. The top gas kid once again getting a number 4 ride going in his first full season on the 65cc gate as well. For the Rubine Racing squad, Werner Kleinams has been a charger as well. Third place shows that he is going to be a championship rival going forward into next season, and he just seems comfortable on every single layout of track that we have thrown at the kids in 2021. GJ Kutsia has also come on super strong towards the end of the season, and it's going to look like he is moving forward in the championship. Second place gives him one of his best rides of the season to date. But it's the whole shotter and the almost unstoppable kid on the 65cc gate. He has been a standout rider on these numbers the whole way through 2021. Almost threw away his advantage off the whole shot queue, but did enough to keep his nose ahead. And he took the win, and with it, splats a big number 1 plate onto his bike. Jaden Els is the man in 65s in 2021. Confirmation of Els on top ahead of Kutsia and Kleinams. Matty Mayer in a number 4 spot ahead of De Beer, and Van Skalkwyk on the Kawasaki. Looks like he's moving to new machinery, so watch out for him to be a player once again in the early part of 2022. For the 85 juniors, these were the fastest kids on the short loop in the morning session. the Katsavas family are great supporters of the Farm Jam initiative and the racing that we have done throughout the years and on this season in particular. Sean Katsavas came to life and loved the hare scramble format that we threw at them. Number 5 spot on the final round shows just how much he enjoyed it. Rechard Webster in his first season moving up. He picked up new machinery at the beginning of the season and he picked up the pace as well. 4th place and still with a lot of development to do. Watch out for him to challenge for top 3s all the way through in 2022. Up the road from him, Brad Webster. Webster has been coming on strong as well. A very technical rider. You can see the way he stands up high on the pegs. He's got that high shoulder and elbows up body position. Spencer absolutely dialed in the most technical laid-out Farm Jam that we have had at the final round. Bruno Niebuhr knew that his championship was on the line, so he gave it everything he possibly could. He had his nose ahead in the early stages of the race, but got past towards the halfway marker. Bruno was still good enough for a number 2 spot though, and he had his eyes on bigger prizes. Stian van der Heever was stalking and shadowing Niebuhr in the early part of the race, and eventually made the pass late on. Stian van der Heever getting his big win streak going. Watch out for this kid. He is a star, and very early on in his 85cc career as well. Here's confirmation of van der Heever getting the final Farm Jam win of the season ahead of Bruno Niebuhr, Spencer Webster, Katsavas and Vanny Kirk. That was the juniors. Let's turn our attention now to the big track, where we pick up on the 85cc pros and the ladies. Starting things out with the ladies, Zaria Fari on one of the smaller Yami smokers. Got it done out there. She's been getting a little bit of help along the way to figure out how to ride these kind of tracks, and it showed. Number 5 spot for her. Zelda Mayberg, she has been great. She didn't seem to have any problems on the season, but those short legs and the rocky technical nature of this track bit her. She got jammed up in one of the rock river crossings, and that dropped her down to a number 4 spot when she was challenging to stay inside of a number 3. Coming out of Rubine Racing, Remarie Ellis has definitely put in the time, put in the training, and put in the effort. She now gets herself into a number 3 spot and will be a player to watch out to challenge for a top 3 in the championship in 2022 as well. Remarie is on fire right now at the end of the 2021 tour. Her good friend and the number 1 rider out of the ladies' gate in the Rubine Racing squad, the 993 of Carla Niebuhr. She has had to settle for a number 2 spot most of the way through the season, and looked like she was really battling with her bike setup at this final round. Technical riding definitely shows any cracks in the setup of the machine, but she was good enough for a number 2 spot. Catherine Mostert, on the other hand, had the Sherco dialed in to the max, tippy-toed where she had to, pinned it where she could, and Catherine Mostert charged her way to another win. It's been an almost perfect season for the Sherco rider, and taking the final win with double points on offer cemented her place at the top of the charts. Welcome, the new queen of Farm Jam, Catherine Mostert. So she will be the lady to beat going forward, and she signs off an incredible season with the final win ahead of Colin Niebuhr, Allers, Mayberg, Fari and Van Rooyen. Next up with the fast pinners, some real quick laps coming out of our 85 seniors. Caden Robert gets a mention in 4th place because on lap number 1, he ate it hard and was a no-show for the rest of the race. 3rd place went to Raymond Language, and he's a busy kid as well. Language does double duties at Farm Jam in 2022, racing on the junior and the senior loop, so puts in more laps than anyone else out there. 3rd place for him. Big Mig, that's Miguel Cavina, he was chasing for a championship as well, so he was right up there pushing the pace. But it's the too tall kid about to jump up into the 125 category for next season, still dwarfing his 85. Keanu Visser showed his true form and really sprung to life in the second half of the season, and the double win at the end of the championship moved him well up there on the numbers. Visser taking the final Farm Jammer of the season. A small entry then from our 85 seniors, but stellar racing nonetheless, with Visser on top ahead of Big Mig, Language and Robert. That's what went down in the morning session, so now we turn our attention to the big race that went down in the afternoon. And the big story here was massive entries and huge support for all of the categories that went out in the afternoon. That was the pro gates, the amateurs, the novice, and the age group categories, and everyone was chomping at the bit to get it done. Some overnight rains had tried to keep the dust down, but with this many riders, and I'm talking well over 250 riders going out the queue, it was going to be wild. For the first time on the first gate, we combined pros 1, 2, and 3. So it was elbows up, bar banging racing action from the flag drop. When the flag went high, all eyes were on the Devastator and Peltzer. The fastest two dudes coming off the pro gate. They were chasing down the title in the Pro 1s, and it was Devin Smith, the Devastator, on the Vans Racing Factory Husky that led out ahead of the 250 EMD KTM of Peltzer. Those two would be going at it for the rest of the 3.5 hours of racing. Everyone else was chasing for a 3 spot. Next gate was the seniors, where Ludovic Janssen van Vuren incredibly still led the championship racing series, even though he'd gone missing in the second half of the tour. He was here to wrap things up, but he had Marco Cocci, who was going to be challenging him the whole way through the day, to see if they could go bar banging once again. The Masters was a stacked field. Kirky, Slabbert, Grief, Stassen, everyone out there trying to get it done. The man to beat has been Kirky, but they have been getting a little bit closer as time has gone on. The amateurs and the novice gates filled up our 26-kilometer racing loop with well over 250 riders that went out to attack what was the final push in 2021. Farm Jam has been an amazing story as we've gone on the road and turned it into a full hair scramble format, and everyone has dialed in their riding style, their setups on their bikes, and their approach, and the feedback has been incredibly positive. The track for the afternoon race was going to be absolutely stellar. The dust did eventually start kicking up, but it wasn't super fast, meaning you could still see the rider in front of you, which gave us amazing racing. When you can see the rider in front, you can go chase and you can push. The technical nature of the track caught a few guys out, but everyone gave us the feedback saying this was one of the most spectacular laid out Farm Jam races ever. And that's counting 12 seasons of going against the bars. Riders settled into their rhythm as well, and we saw average lap times coming in of around about the 45-minuter. The top guys were dropping the hammer though closer to the 30-minuter. As the day went on, arms, legs, lungs and bikes were getting tired, but everyone kept pushing. There was enough rest to allow you to get ready for the next tech zone. When the tech zone came in, there was a little bit of rocks, a little bit of forest, and a little bit of river crossings, and then the track opened up once again before you went into the next zone. The perfect combo track, and everyone said exactly that. We're definitely coming back, and we're definitely going to keep pushing the pace at Farm Jam. Out on course and climbing the ladder, starting things out with the novice classes, the S3 class giving us some stellar racing. Remember, these are the guys that are relatively new to the sport and allowing them to run in the smaller capacity bikes, most of them rocking out there on 200s or 250 cc's. Jaco Forster getting it done on the Yamaha on a number 5 spot, with Henky Smith a little bit further up the road on a Husky. Remember, Middelburg is Husky land big time, so you're going to see a lot of the white bikes going and getting the job done. Up the road from Henky was Raymond Language. Remember, we spoke about the fact that Raymond is a busy kid. He's out there in the morning session racing on the 85 in the pro classes and in the seniors going forward. Looks like he's wrapping up his junior career, so we're going to see this kid on some of the bigger gates in 2022. Third place position for him. Molo Kotze, who has been committing to the S3 novice class throughout the season and is one of the riders that we'll see up there in the championship as well. Even though he's rocking one of the older KTMs, it is old faithful as far as he's concerned, and it's brought him to the podium many, many times on the tour. Jerome Stubbs, though, was once again the man on top. The S3 novice, pretty much a pro rider at the moment on this gate, is simply unstoppable. Potentially going to be moving up 1 or 2 categories in next season, but he did take the final win of the season. So Stubby on top ahead of Kutzer, Language, Smith, Forster and Milan. The S3 novices just open up the page as we get trucking and moving up into the S2s. Slightly bigger capacity bikes, often slightly faster on the lap times as well. Luke Riley getting it done inside of a number 5 spot as he tippy-toed the big Yammy all the way up the roads. Not far up the road from him was the 4 spot going to Frank Fenter. Frank coming on strong at the end of the season as well, another rider who's starting to gel with the new hair scramble format of the Farm Jams. The Yammy's running 5 and 4 at this stage. Starting to see some more familiar faces inside of the top 3. Francois Fasaki has been an absolute charger. In fact, in the early part of the season, looked like he may have been one of the riders to challenge for a championship. The previous round, though, was a problem for him as he dropped out of the top 3 for the first time and out of championship points contention. Rian Labiskakny having his best ride of the season, bar none. Second place sees him as a big pinner. And then even though he was missing in action for round number 1, he has been unstoppable in rounds 2, 3, 4, and now the doubleheader at round number 5, the 1-4-1. Even though we always pick him up, picking his bike up off the ground, it doesn't seem to slow him down. Kyle, Style, Potketer gets it done and hammers the nail. The win at the doubleheader, cementing his position as the champion out of the S2 novice class. And that is in his first season of Farm Jam racing. Watch out for Kyle to make the move up a category, possibly into pro ranks. Time will tell. Potketer on top then, ahead of Labiskakny, Fusaki, Fenter, Riley and Van Heerden. Novice S1 introduces us to the big bangers, the big dudes on the big bikes, the Desanti in the house, massive supporters, and cool to see that family atmosphere always that Farm Jam is famous for. Sometimes you'll see father, son, brother, aunt, uncle, all of them racing all at once. Sean DeSantos gets a number 5 ride going with Greg Parkin, who is new to Farm Jam racing. Looks like he picked up some new equipment towards the end of the season. A couple of rounds back, he was on an old Kawa, picked up a KTM. Looks like he is in love with Farm Jam. Brent DeSantos beating out on Sean. That makes it an uncomfortable ride home, but it's all about beating your bro. The B22 getting a number 3 spot this time around, and that moved him up in the championship standings as well. The fastest Viking out there at the moment, Franz de Klerk, getting it hammered and absolutely loving the rocky terrain. The more tech, the better for the Viking as he rocked his way up, sliced to a number 2 spot this time around. Francois Moritz, who has been an absolute standout rider in his first full season of Farm Jam racing. He is now on top in the S1 novice class, and that just shows how good things are going at Farm Jam. The riders stay with us on the tour, they learn at every single event, and they get faster as the season gets longer. Welcome to the top step, Francois, ahead of de Klerk. The Desanti going a 3 and 5 with Parkin in the middle and Rubenheimer rounding out our top 6. Up then into the amateurs as we start to go a little bit faster up the road. The S3s giving us the 250 category most of the time. Jandre Bosch has been inside the top 5 throughout the season. He was locked in a battle the whole way through this final round with Devin Peterser. Peterser, I like his riding style big time. The D444 was strong. And that battle between 3, 4 and 5 was pretty close. Never separated by less than a minute and a half. Jandre Bosch in the 5 spot. Peterser in the number 4. And Stephen, the gun, getting it done on the 111 inside of a number 3. Stephen Gunn has been inside the top 5 throughout the most part of the season as well, and that's going to show good in the championship standings also. Jacques Oosthuizen waving the flag for the Yamaha squad. He has been good as well. The first part of the season, he really battled with the new layout and the new format of the championship, but he also has developed his skills and changed the game to look good in the new hair scrambles. Second place for him, but Hanru van der Sant is the man to beat in this category right now. Van der Sant taking the final win and double points at the last round, beating out Oosthuizen, Gunn, Peterser, Bosch and Vinny Labiskakny, rounding out our top 6. These results will change up the championship as well. S2 Amateurs always gives us extremely close racing. I don't know what it is about this gate, but everyone really brings their A game, and very often the top 5 are separated by less than 5 minutes. Dwayne Gerber was on the number 5 spot with Justin Robert for the Robert Co. squad. 4 riders, and across those 4 riders, 3 generations of racers getting it done out at Farm Jam. The first time we've ever had that happening. Thanks to the Robert family and Robert Co. for supporting Farm Jam so well in 2021. Koos Language was up the road waving the flag for the Language family, and as you can see, the family theme runs strong out here at Farm Jam. That's why we love it so much. Koos getting a number 3 ride going. James DeToy is super aggressive. You've got to love watching this guy pin it on the flatland sections and simply muscle and barge his way through the tech zones. You can almost hear the bike crying out in pain and joy at the same time. DeToy, a strong ride on the E911 into a number 2 spot. Up the road from him is a slightly more delicate touch. Evan Vessels, gentle on the bike when he has to be. Mechanically sympathetic is his riding style. Uses the revs and the torque where he has to. Gets the suspension dialed. Doesn't hurt the rubber too bad. And more than often not, brings it to the top. Big checkers, big smiles, and a great season for Vessels on top once again. Ahead of DeToy. Language, Robert inside the number 4. That's going to see him inside the number 4 for the championship as well. With Gerber and Damien Robert rounding out the top 6. Big bangers in the S1s gives us some big pace as well. Most of these guys out there ripping the bars off on extremely strong equipment. Chris de Kock was inside of the number 5, but JJ Oosthuizen getting picked up late in the season by Roberto and challenging himself to line up at the doubleheader final round of Farm Jam. His first time of riding this format of riding, and he squeaked his way inside of number 4. Wiley Harrington, you can't say Farm Jam without saying Wiley Harrington. He has been a key rider, a key player, and very rarely steps off the top 3 positions. 3rd place this time around sets him up for a good solid finish in the championship. Dean Martin is always going to be banging bars with him as well. Harrington and Dino charging hard, almost matching each other lap for lap and giving it beans. 3rd and 2nd will keep them happy, and they'll be celebrating hard as they round out an incredible season. For the 800 though, Andrea Casillo just had something extra for this final round, and it's going to move him way up in the championship. He really gelled perfectly with a new hair scramble racing format and his big KTM machine. Andrea Casillo beating out some tasty riders off the S1 Amgate. He'll be stoked on that. Casillo confirmation ahead of Dino Martin and Wiley. 1, 2, and 3, setting the track alight with eye-wateringly fast lap times ahead of Oosthuizen, de Kock, and Johnny Gumley, rounding out our top 6. Before we get into the pro categories, let's take a quick squiz at what went down in the age group classes. The Masters class giving us a huge gate all the way through the season, and one of our biggest gates at the final round. Pierre Smith was right there inside of number 5 with the juice. US Stassen riding out of Subaru Nelspruit inside of a number 4. He'd have been hoping for a top 3 to try and challenge for a top 3 in the championship, but he said on the day he just had nothing for those top 3 lads. 4th place, and he's happy with where his riding is at because he gave it everything she had. For the Rubine Racing squad, Ernst Slabbert has been out there challenging for top 3s at every single event that he has entered throughout the season. He'll come into this round hoping for a top finish, but 3rd place is where he has found himself more often than not. He's taken a few high finishes, but at the final round, 3rd place cemented his 3rd place in the championship as well. Rudy Kavina, who has one big win under his belt this season, but the rest of the time he has been running 2nd or 3rd fiddle. He is a super fast flatland rider, and he just got beaten by the deft and light touch that is Sean Kirk. Kirky has lined up in 2021 for the first time coming out Farm Jam Racing, and he has been the one rider that has been championing this new hair scramble racing format, mainly because he's seen more wins than anyone else out there. Kirky was on top once again, and that wrapped up his championship. The big number 1 plate goes to the captain, ahead of Kavina, Slabbert, Stassen, Smith, and Marty Poole, giving us some great riding inside the top 6. The seniors was always going to be a nail-biter. A lot of these guys can run lap times very similar to the top pros. Owen Bell was running a top 5 throughout the final round of the season, with Andre Mostert up the road from him on the Sherco, getting it done inside of a top 4. These guys ran a full 3.5-hour racing format in the height of the summer heat. Hats off to these boys. They earned their bacon at the Farm Jam final. Craig Gregory, who has been one of the great supporters of the Farm Jam and FJX Tour back in the day when we used to run some of the Super Enduros, and he's been getting his eye back in once again in 2021. 3rd place and possibly challenging for a podium at every round next year. Ludwig Jens van Vuren had enough points in the bag to sit out the penultimate round and then come back banging. 2nd place at the final round, scoring double points. Kept him in that championship lead. Ludwig will be your champion. But the final win of the season is a big brag as well. In and out of the championship, but the muscle that is Marco Cocci, the madman, ripping the bars off the Yamaha the whole way through the day in the early laps, banging bars big time. It was wild riding between himself and Ludwig. Eventually, Cocci got the Yami out front and saw the checkers for the final time in 2021. So the seniors saw a new winner with Cocci on top ahead of Janse van Vuren, who will be your champion in 2021. That was Gregory in 3rd then, ahead of Mostert, Bell and Bunnell. Cocci the final winner, your champion though, Janse van Vuren. Now to the pro classes that set the track alight out at Middelburg. Elru van der Westhuizen has been charging, picking up a ton of injuries throughout the season though. 5th place, we'll see him back on point. Unfortunately having to bow out late in the race, but still a rock-solid fast ride from him. His good buddy riding now out of the full factory Vans Racing Husky squad, Gigi, Graham Griff, getting it done once more in 4th place. Also having some challenges on the day. It was Vans Racing Husky running 5, 4 and 3 as we saw Thorne Blake, the big kid, muscling the Vans Racing machine up into a number 3 ride. Cool to see Thorne putting together a solid championship in the 2021 season. 2nd place, and it was a blast from the past. We haven't seen this kid racing in well over 1.5 seasons. Troy, the Destroyer Johnson, back onto the Yami 125 and back onto the box inside of a number 2 finish. But your S3 Pro man is Renier Kotze. Almost doesn't look like he's trying half the time out there. The R113 has that butter smooth, efficient riding style, and that's seen him on top more than not throughout the 2021 season. The winner and the man to beat on the S3 Pros, Kotze, simply unstoppable on the rocks, roots, and on the top, ahead of Johnson, Blake, Griff, Elru van der Westhuizen, and an honorable mention to Brandon Clark on the little 85, running in 6th place on the big loop. Next up, the S2 Pinners. Josh Johnson rolled out as well after a full 1.5 seasons out of action on one of the older Husqvarnas. Got himself up there inside of a number 5, showing he's still got the magic to make it happen. Peter Dalport has been rocking with us the full season throughout the Farm Jam Tour in 2021. The first time we've gone on tour and onto the road, hitting a ton of new venues. 4 brand new venues all in all before we arrived back here at Middelburg and the DIRTRAX facility. Dalport taking a number 4 finish up the road for the Vans Racing Husky squad. Bernie Besadenhout running his way up there inside of a top 5 overall and taking a 3rd place finish on the S2 Pro gate against some very tasty riders. Since going privateer at the halfway marker of the season, Vernon Nordia has been looking tasty, getting it done, stepping off of a KTM, and the late half of the tour, jumping up onto a Husqvarna. Nordia, 2nd place, and running a tight championship to boot as well. But on this gate in the S2 Pros, there is only one name at the top and consistently at the top as well. Tough to beat him on his ride and on his day. Jean Neerbuer on the 911 Rubine Racing 350 gets it done once again. He had a challenging day going down the road once or twice. But Jean Niebuhr rode, smashed and stomped his way all to the tippy top once more to nail down his win and the championship. Jean Niebuhr then confirmed on top, beating out his sparring partner Vernon Nordier and Bernie Besadenhout, with Peter Delport and Josh Johnson rounding out the S2 Pro gate. All that was left was to see who was on top in the S1 Pros, the eye-wateringly fast Big Banger gate. For Carl Niebuhr, it was a challenging day for sure, going down on the first 2 laps, and eventually it would be found out that he had a broken wrist. Still, Kyle did enough to bring it home for the finish, 5th place, and get those valuable championship points. Tough man of the day definitely goes to Big Kyle. Ruan Haynes was up the road from him on a freshie. He rolled out a 6-day and got himself up there into 4th place, just in time to get a new decal kit on the wagon before the Christmas close down. Jaco Smith was rock solid as well. In fact, Jaco had one of his best rides of the season. He was well placed inside the top 4 pretty much the whole way through the day. And he'll be very proud of the work and effort and the riding he was able to put in at round number 5 of the Farm Jams. 3rd place in the S1 Pros is a big brag. Ryan Peltzer absolutely loves this format of racing and comes to life in it with an incredible career of extreme riding, enduro, sprint riding and off-road and a little bit of motocross. Peltzer puts it all together to get it done out at the Farm Jams. 2nd place for him and the fastest 250 out there throughout the championship. It'll also see him running 2nd place on the championship to date. His sparring partner and the man that gives him the most bang for buck when it goes racing time is the Devastator, Devin Smith. More wins on the season than anyone else out there and the fastest lap times at every single track we have been to. The Vans Racing factory husky rider dominating the category, dominating the Farm Jams, and will now splat a big number 1 plate on the 106 at the end of this championship racing season. Simply unstoppable. No matter what you put in front of this kid, the Devastator's name is well earned. Confirmation of Dev on top, beating out on Ryan Peltzer and Jaco Smith for the top 3s, with Ruan Haynes. Carl Niebuhr with that broken wrist, incredible ride to 5th place ahead of Henrik Furry. After the race, we caught up with some of the top pinners. Dev, how was that for a high-paced race, eh?
Yeah, yes, this track was amazing, eh?
Tell me about how it went for you, because obviously you like the lowland stuff, but it was pretty tech this time around as well.
Yeah, there was a bit of everything, water, sand, rocks, everything. And
was that enough to wrap up the championship then?
Yeah, yes. I knew if I go in 2nd, I'm still going to win, but I still came 1st, give it my all. Yeah.
That's how to play the game.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. Ryan, I thought again this was going to be a small bike track. It was close, eh?
Yeah, it was good. Devin was on it today. Give it to him, he was quick. But yeah, he really enjoyed it.
You came on strong towards the end of this championship. Does this format of racing suit your style?
Yeah, I love it. Today was a mix of everything. There was some fast, technical, a little bit of muddy sections, forest, everything. So Leon really put in good work here and definitely be back next year.
Kirky, you definitely worked for that one, eh?
Yes, that was a lot of work, eh? We thought it was going to rain and it was hot and I could feel it with this black kit, but well done to the organisers, well done to you. It was a fantastic event, well marked, just absolutely superb. A great way to finish off the season. Thanks very much, guys. It was brilliant.
What do you think of the championship and the way that the new hair scrambles have lined up? You're one of the guys that really benefited from that.
Yeah, I think the sport has evolved certainly with this formula, and they've changed it over the last 4 races, and it's been better every time. So it's a mixture of a bit of technical, fast. They've got the blend perfectly right. I mean, it's just incredible how well they've done.
Cheers, Kirky. We'll see you on the podium, dude.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, bud. Ray, I never get to catch up with you, mainly because you do 2 races. I mean, this whole season you've been doing more laps than anyone else. How do you do it?
I don't know. I just practice for it, and yes, it's my fitness. Thank you for Base Fit for getting me fit for this.
Obviously, the whole idea is to go into the senior ranks for next year, yeah?
Yes.
Now, what's the idea of which bike you're going to line up on, and are you going to go full pro or go into the amateurs or novs?
We're going to go to S3 Pros and the 150.
I mean, your times are good, dude. So you know, I think the rest of the guys are in trouble, eh?
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. So that is Farm Jam, the final round, and the 2021 season wrapped up. For the guys that were in it to win it the whole way through the 5-round season, they got the rewards and they got their championship plates and the points come the end of play. It's been an amazing season in 2021, and thanks to everyone that has made it happen. We can't wait to roll out a brand new season and some brand new venues in 2022. Before we sign off, we took a little pit walk and got up close and personal with our friends and the family that is Farm Jam.
Isn't this just the best part of racing, eh? Packing up shop.
Yeah, it's the worst because you're tired now, you have to pack up. Can we hire somebody to do it for us, please?
I'll put the word out.
Please.
So how was the race?
It was like a technical, then a little bit of a straight. You see, they closed off the mud and into the forest. I think most of the oaks got stuck there. So yeah, but at the end of the day, we all enjoyed it. It was a fun day.
So the final Farm Jam, how was it for you?
No, it was very good. It was very exciting and very exhilarating, and it was funny seeing all age groups and doing a lot of things. Yeah,
it was quite lucky. It was pretty tough, eh? Getting a bit dehydrated at the end there, but anyway, it is what it is.
The toughest part for you?
Hanging on by the whoops. True. Yeah, hands were cut through blisters, but otherwise it was lekker. It was a nice finish to the year.
It was lekker, but yeah, the breaking bumps and stuff, it was not lekker. And yeah, I fell a few times and I broke my rear rectum off, and I bent my handlebars.
Yo, Maddie.
Hi.
How was your Farm Jam today, brother?
Good.
Tell me about which is the best bit of the track.
Probably after the Marshall Point.
Yeah.
That's straight, the long, straight, open pass.
Okay. Now show me a trick on this thing. Oh, really? Okay, that's where we are. Woo! Thanks, Maddie. Dad, how's the happy people?
Very nice.
Yeah? How's it?
I actually do like my patties.
Oh, good man. Dude, I never catch you up. Tell me about the season, brother.
I'm very happy with my second place on the championships, and the tracks was very nice.
You like the style of Farm Jam then?
Yes.
What do you think is the best thing? The fact that they've slowed it down or made it a little bit more tech, or what?
The technical and the slow was very nice.
Awesome. What's the plan for next year? Moving up or what?
No, still staying on 65, but I'm also going to do the GXCC series.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, and then I was first, and then I was first, and then I was last.
Exactly. It was a intense race.
Yeah.
But I chilled. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it.
I always talk to you too much. Where's Sifi? There's he. Sifi! How was yours, brother?
Very good.
Yeah?
Much better than anticipated. It was a very fun race. A good into a very awesome season, eh?
Thanks, Steve. Perfect. Lovely, man.
No.
Yeah. No, I want to speak to the pit boss. Kush, you're the pit boss.
No, there's a...
No, come now. Come, Magda. Talk to me. Come on. Come on. I want to know. How'd the team go?
I think well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did the pits go, more importantly?
Oh, no, Dimacor today. No, it was just Dimacor.
We'll catch you later, Magda.
No.
Yeah, Ben.
No.
Yeah, Ben.
Ja, problem with.
Ben, why do you keep breaking your little bike?
I don't know.
You ride too hard. That's the answer. You ride too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, your dad stood behind me. Dad, build me a new bike for next year.
Yes, we are.
But this is one of the oldest Kawasaki's racing out here. Dad, tell me, how do you keep this thing going? Because she's actually been good. She actually has.
Yeah, that's actually just this last four races, and I must say it's book and block from now on forward. So what I'll do is it's no use spending money at this stage. So we'll try our best, but next year we'll see. It's a new game. I might just put an 85 carb on this one and see what it does. I don't know.
Ooh. What do you think? You think it's cool? Cool, Ben. Dude, What's up? I know you're one of the big mouths down here in the pits. Tell me about the day on the new wagon. Is she not fresh anymore?
Not fresh. She's properly ridden in.
Okay. How was this track for you? I don't know if I oversold it. How was it?
The track was nice and technical, nice and flowy as well. Rocky section, I loved it. The couple of dam crossings, I loved it. Yeah, I think in between the 350 and the 300. Yeah, rocky section, I missed the 300, but the 350, yeah, it's a machine to get used to.
Tell me about the 2021 Farm Jams. You like the new style?
I love it. Hey? It's not that open wide anymore. It's nice and technical. I love it.
This Farm Jam racing action was brought to you by Vans Racing and Subaru Nelspruit.
So with Farm Jam nicely tightened up and wrapped up in a bow, ready for Christmas, everyone's going to be getting themselves ready for the next season. We are waiting with bated breath for all the calendars to come out, and looks like it's going to be another 6-rounder, and looks like Farm Jam will once again go on the road. So let's just talk about GXCCs for a second. So 2 of their productions have been done. This week is obviously the focus point on Farm Jam. Next week, we will wrap up the Verena GXCCs, their penultimate round, with the support class. So tune in for that. We look like we're going to be going ahead with the roof this year as well. So watch out for a review on that coming around the corner, because that is just next weekend. So it's incredible that we are going so deep into the season. And then remember, GXCCs have their final round on the 4th of December. That's going to be out in Carltonville. Pretty close by as well, just under an hour down the road from Joburg, around about an hour 45 from Pretoria, so pretty close by. And remember, super important to get those entries in, because it's the final round. It's only a 7-round championship this year because we lost that 1 round because of the blip, but they're still locked into a 7-round with 1 throwaway. So pretty much all of the championships are still up for grabs because of the shortened season. So it's going to be an absolute nail biter. I will definitely be there. Me and the LiveX lads will definitely be there, making you guys famous, and we can't wait to see what goes down. There are still around about 5 or 6 episodes of Hollywood Hills coming at you before the Christmas close down. So for now, we hope you enjoyed the final round of Farm Jam, and we hope you've enjoyed the entire season of Farm Jam. We can't wait to get ready for next year. But for now, we get ready to move forward with the final couple of productions. For now, alles is mooi. We'll catch you next week. Cheers.